Hello, folks. Welcome to this one last class in time, speed, distance of your basics to advanced series on Quant. We have done a lot of things in the past few classes. In case if you have missed out on any of that, switch back to those videos, have a look at it, get comfortable about time, speed, distance, because in this class, we're going to have a look at some questions that happen to come in the paper. We are going to solve some PYQs here. Let's see whether whatever we have learned happened to replicate in the sheet. I've picked out a few questions, which I already mentioned. Some of them are template questions. Let's see if we can get our hands on it and then solve it. So without any further ado, let's start solving these questions. I'm going to solve one bunch of questions here. To begin with, this is your first question. Once again, I'll give you some time to take a snap of it and then solve it. Pause the video here if you want to solve it before you look at the solution, and it's all yours now. And now let's solve this. So the question says two places A and B are 45 kilometers apart, connected by a straight road. Anil goes from A to B while Sunil goes from B to A. Starting at the same time, they cross each other in exactly 1 hour 30 minutes. If Anil reaches B exactly 1 hour 15 minutes after Sunil reaches A, the speed of Anil in kilometers per hour is. Already seen a question of this type. Let's see if it works here. So they are saying they are 45 kilometers apart. So this is A and then this is B. Anil goes from A to B. We have Anil here and then we have Sunil here in this direction. We are crossing in the opposite direction now. Now we notice that they start at the same time, cross each other exactly one and a half hours later. So the time that taken to reach here is 1.5 hours. And similarly from B, let's call this point to be M. Sunil comes from B to M in 1.5 hours. Now the question says they cross each other in exactly 1 hour 30 minutes. If Anil reaches exactly 1 hour 15 minutes after Sunil reaches A. So I don't know what time Sunil took here. If I say this is X hours, I notice that Anil has taken 1 hour 15 minutes. 1 hour 15 minutes is 1 and a quarter. So 1 by 4, this will become X plus 5 by 4. 1 and a quarter hours to reach. Now we understand that we have 4 different times. We can equate those ratios and solve for it. So 3.5, 1.5 I can write it as 3 by 2 divided by X is equal to X plus 5 by 4. I can write it as 4X plus 5 by 4 divided by 3 by 2. I want to cross multiply this. I will happen to get 9 by 4 is equal to 4x square plus 5x by 4. I can cancel this out. I will happen to get 4x square plus 5x minus 9 equals to 0. Product is 36. Sum is plus 5. 9 and 4 works. 9 into 4 is 36. Difference is 5. I need plus 5 here. So I'm going to say 4x square plus 9x minus 4x minus 9. Or let me rewrite it the other way so that we can take the 9 and 4 common. Can write this as 4x square minus 4x plus 9x. I can take out 4x common here. This will become x minus 1. If I take plus 9 common here, I'll have x minus 1. So 4x plus 9 and x minus 1. X is equal to minus 9 by 4 or 1. X is time, so it cannot be minus 9 by 4. X has to be 1. The speed of Anil in kilometers per hour is. So X is 1 hour. That means Anil takes 1.5 hours here and then he takes X value is 1 here. 1 plus 5 by 4. So this will be 3 by 2 plus this will become 9 by 4. So adding this to this will be 6 by 4. 15 by 4 hours is what he takes. But the question is not talking about hours. The question is talking about speed. I want to find the speed of Anil. I know the distance is 45 kilometers per hour. So Anil's speed will be 45 divided by 15 by 4, goes over there. That will be 12 kilometers per hour. And I happen to have that in option C. And that will be our option. So we already understand this idea. We already solved a couple of questions in this format. Just plugging in the ratio of their times. The moment you do it, you get through with the question. Once again, revisit all those ideas that we have discussed so that this concept becomes familiar. Right? We'll move on to the next question now. I'm going to step aside. And now let's solve this question. It says Ravi is driving at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour on a road. Vijay is 54 meters behind Ravi, driving in the same direction as Ravi. Ashok is driving along the same road from the opposite direction at a speed of 50 kilometers per hour and is 225 meters away from Ravi. The speed in kilometer per hour at which Vijay should drive so that all three cross each other at the same time is. Let's go for this. Ravi is driving at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour. Vijay is 54 meters behind Ravi. So if I put Vijay here, now Ravi is here. In the same direction as Ravi. So both of them are traveling in the same direction. Vijay has to be behind in the same direction. Ashok is along the same road from the opposite direction. So Ashok is here and he's traveling at 50 kilometers per hour. You also know that Ravi is traveling at 40 kilometers per hour. We don't know the speed of Vijay. We need to figure that out. Distance between Ravi and Vijay is given as 54 meters. Distance between Ashok and Ravi is given as 225 meters. So once again, the speed in kilometer per hour at which Vijay should drive so that all three cross other at the same time. So I want all three of them meeting at the same time. To do that, I want to know the time taken by R and A to meet. So the time taken by R and A to meet would be distance divided by relative speed. Relative speed here happens to be 40 and 50. Sum of 40 and 50 is 90. But into 5 by 18 because 225 is in meters. To solve for this, this is 5. Time taken will be 225 by 25. That will be 9 seconds. So Ravi and Anil, Ashok will meet in 9 seconds. And I want Vijay to reach the destination in 9 seconds in the same time. So for that, time is equal to 54 meters divided by x minus, I cannot take 40 kilometers per hour here because 54 meters is taken. So I want to convert this into meters per second. So 40 into 5 by 18. Cancel, this is 20. 100 by 9 is equal to 9. I'm nicely cancelling those. This is 6 times. So this will give me 9x 6 into 9 divided by 9x minus 100 equals to 1. We can move on to the next slide and then say 9x minus 100 is equal to 54. Or this goes here. 9x is equal to 154. X is equal to 154 by 9. But this is in meters per second. Question is given in kilometers per hour. So I'll have to convert this into 18 by 5. Cancel this off 2 times. Pi cancels this in 30.8. So x will be 61.6 kilometers. Beautiful question. We have already seen templates of this. So it's only a matter of time that you practice that, solve it, and apply the logics over here. The moment you do that, we all are through, right? Jump to the next question. I'll step aside for a second. and then we'll solve. So the question says, Brishti went on an 8-hour trip in a car. Before the trip, the car had traveled a total of X kilometers till then, where X is a whole number and is palindromic. So what's palindrome? X remains unchanged when the digits are reversed. So when you write a series, a sequence of letters or words, when you read it from the back, it will be the same. A nice palindrome that we can say is level, L-E-V-E-L. You read it from the back, it's still level, right? It's palindrome. Malayalam is one of the longest palindromes that we have, M-A-L-A-Y, A-L-A-M. So you read it from the back, it's still Malayalam. So X is a value which is a palindrome. It's a sequence of digits. When you write it in the reverse, it's still a palindrome. It's still the same. At the end of the trip, the car had traveled a total of 26862. This again being palindromic. 26862. Read it from the back. 26862. That is also a palindrome. So she had traveled X kilometers totally, and then she travels for 8 hours, and the total distance covered is still a palindrome. Right. If Brishti never drove more than 110 km per hour, the greatest possible average at which she drove during the trip in the kilometer per hour was. So I have to find the maximum value of X that will solve for this equation where 26862 minus X kilometers. I don't know what X is the kilometers here. I don't know what the speed is, but 8 times her speed will be X, which is a palindrome again. So we have been given options. We can substitute one option at a time and then see whether it works. So first 26862 minus 8 times 90 will be 720. So if I subtract this, you will get 24162. Now that's not a palindrome. So A is not the answer. I'm going to look for B. 26862 minus 8 times of the speed will be 800. So this will become 26062. Can this become a palindrome? Yes, it is a palindrome. So 100 works, but they are asking the largest possible value. So I don't have to check for 80 because 100 works. 100 is more than 80. I have to check for D because that's 110. There's a possibility that this could also satisfy. If this satisfies, this will be our answer. So you need to check for that. So let's do that. 26862 minus 880, 26862. So I can subtract 1000. That will be 25862 and then add 120 to it. 25982. All right. 25862, 25962, 25982. Yes. Is this a palindrome? No, it is not. So of the lot, 3 options have been ruled out. B is your right answer. This question is more of logically looking at numbers and then solving it rather than sheer time, speed, distance. But then, hey, this has been a question in a paper. You also have to understand sometimes you get a freebie like this and you say, I'm going to grab it with both my hands and I'm going to retain it, right? We'll move on to the next question now. I'm going to step aside again. Then let's solve this. 2 ships are approaching a port along straight routes at constant speeds. Initially, the 2 ships and the port formed an equilateral triangle with sides of 24 kilometers. So there is a port and there is a ship S1 and S2. This is your port. They form an equilateral triangle, right? Which means the angles happen to be 60 degrees in all 3 places and the lengths happen to be 24, 24, 24 each. Now, initially the 2 ships, port and the port formed an equilateral triangle with sides of length 24 km. When the slower ship traveled 8 kilometers, the triangle formed by the new positions of the 2 ships and the port became right angle. Oh, interesting. Now, when this ship moves 8 kilometers, this moves some distance, and then the triangle formed is right angle. But the question I have is, which angle would be right angle? They are traveling in straight lines. So the angle formed at the port is still 60 degree only. So the 90 degree is happening either here or here. But we understand that if this is 60, one has to be 90. We notice that this ship has traveled only 8 kilometers. This ship would have traveled a longer distance. This is 16 kilometers, that I know. This is less than 16, right? Because this is a faster ship. That means this is the shorter side. From here I can understand the right angle forms here. How do I know that? This is longer side, this is shorter side. This cannot be 90 degree then, right? The longer side of the triangle should be opposite to your right angle. Now, if I put an angle here, this cannot be the longer side. I'm using geometry here, and that's how you do this question. If this is 90 degree, the side opposite to your right angle should be the longer side of the triangle. This cannot be the longest side, because I know this is a faster ship that has covered more distance. Instead of covering 8, it is covering something more than 8. We understand that. In that case, this is your 90 degree. So this will become 30 degrees. Now I'm going to use a 30, 60, 90 triangle. 30 degree, 60 degree, 90 degree rule. That says, if the angles are 30, 60, 90, the sides corresponding to the angles will be 1 is to root 3 is to 2. I notice that the angle corresponding to 90 degree is 16. So the angle corresponding to 30 degree should be 8. This is 16. This has to be 8. The logic of 30, 60, 90 rule in a right angle triangle. So this has to be 8. Now I notice that when the slower ship has traveled 8 kilometers, the faster ship has traveled 16 kilometers. That means it still has to go another 8 kilometers. When this goes 8 kilometers, this bugger would have traveled only 4 kilometers. That means he would have traveled 12 kilometers from the initial case. That means he would have another 12 kilometers to travel to the port. Our answer would be option B. Nice question. It's a funda used with geometry. You look at right angle triangles. When you do right angle triangles, you remember the 30, 60, 90 rule. You apply it here and this question flies. Challenging when you don't know geometry, but the moment you grasp this concept, this is a question that doesn't need solving. It's more of an intuition that you apply to get it, right? Beautiful question. We'll do one more question. I'm going to step aside. Right. Let's solve this question now. Two trains A and B were moving in opposite directions, the speed being in the ratio 5:3. The front end of A crossed the rear end of B 46 seconds after the front ends of the trains had crossed each other. It took another 69 seconds for the rear ends of the trains to cross each other. The ratio of the length of A to that of train B is. So we have given that there are two trains that are crossing in the opposite direction at 5x and 3x. This is A. Now, the first condition says front end of A cross the rear end of B 46 seconds after the front ends of the train had crossed each other. From this point to go to a point where it would be something like this. This is A in this direction and this is B in this direction. The front end of A crosses the rear end of B 46 seconds after the front ends have crossed each other. So from this point to this point, it has taken 46 seconds. Or I can say for the front end of A has taken 46 seconds to cover the entire distance of B. Or I can say length of B has been covered by the relative speed of the two trains would be 5x and 3x. So I'm going to call it 8x, and it covers in 46 seconds. Or length of B will be 46 into 8x. 320 and 48, that will become 368x. It took another 69 seconds for the rear ends to cross each other. From this point, it has taken from here to go something like this. This is again A, this is B in this direction. It has taken another 69 seconds, or I can say it has taken a total of 115 seconds from this point to this point. The two trains front end meeting and the two trains rear end meeting, it has taken 115 seconds. 46 seconds for this case, another 69 seconds for this case, or a total of 115 seconds for this case. Or we can write LA plus LB, length of A plus length of B, by 8x is equal to 115x. We know LB is 368, LA plus 368x is equal to 8 into 115 would be 920x, or LA is equal to 920 minus 368 into x. I can think about 620, 560, length of A is equal to 552x. The question is ratio of A to B. So A by B will be 552 by 368. I can think about cancelling them out in 8. This will beautifully be 69 times, and this will become 46 times. You can cancel it out in 23. This is 3, this is 2. So the answer option is 3:2. Mind you, there is a 2:3. Don't fall for the trap. You have to be very cautious. If you had written this as A, LA, you would have fallen into the trap. So look for the data, look for what the condition says, and then crack it from there. The answer for this question is 3:2. So these are the types of questions that you get. Now there is no assurance this is exactly how you will get. But then we understand that some questions are lengthy, some questions are intuitive, and some questions are template ideas. You never know what you get. But then if you can get your hands on all the basic concepts, if you can get your hands on the templates to the least, we are getting through this paper. We are getting through this topic to the least. So ensure that you prepare for it well and then you crack it. All the best, folks.